whatever the environment is doing, it's like, oh, maybe that's the in thing. But if I have a different mindset, a different way of thinking and doing, if I pursue that, I think I'm just recalling in Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning, where he's talking about his mindset and power, that it doesn't get moved with what people are thinking or doing, because it's the one thing that people can take away from us. But we operate in an environment, whether there's other people, there's external factors as well, and we want to blend in a way. We don't want to be ridiculed or to look stupid or something. But by avoiding those kind of things, if we don't have the right mindset, we could, like you said, not being ourselves. So how can we?
Well, yeah, I know exactly what you're going to say. You're right. What ends up happening is, it's a sense of self-worth, a sense of internal confidence.
Yeah.
Like I'll give you an example. I know somebody. I know a woman who's very powerful, very a personality, but very balanced, very loving and caring. And I remember someone said she's too assertive, and I said, too assertive? Why do we punish people that are assertive?
Yeah.
And misinterpret it as maybe aggressive? Yeah. Why that someone can be confident and trustworthy, and we take them as potentially a threat or some form of fraud?
Yeah.
Because the collective dynamic has been fooled into believing that if it doesn't look the same, it's wrong with it. It doesn't think the same, something's wrong with it.
Yeah.
I tell you, it's my business and what I do, how I show up at the timing that these leaders need me to show up when I'm introduced to them. It's because they're ready to be optimized. Now, I don't show up the same way. I'm never going to, and I'm okay with that. And your people and everybody that's listening, anybody and everybody that just wants to have the most fulfilling life should really embrace this, is stop allowing yourself to get caught up in the idea that we need to somewhat conform ourselves into society, into the companies we're in, into what we're doing out in the world, because that is in fact where you're going to finally feel yourself stuck and limited and never really get to feel that sense of longing, peace, freedom, comfort, success. And for me, success means your life is optimized. It doesn't mean you've made $100 million. And it's like, I've been around people that have 9-figure bank accounts and they've got the name, but they are so miserable. And I'm like, why do you not want to live a better life? Why do you not want to see what you're actually capable of? Well, can you imagine who Elon Musk would be if he actually deal with all this childhood issues that he's never really actually resolved? I know he hasn't. I've been around people that know him personally. We'd probably be on Mars, Saturn, we might be in another galaxy. This guy's genius, right? He's operating from where he is, and look what he's creating from a place of compensation. Now imagine other leaders listening to this going, damn, okay, wait a minute. Maybe I need to go and embrace something that's so radical and different.
Yeah.
That, hell, if I'm taking risks in the market, why wouldn't I take a risk with some new thing that shows up that makes me feel very uncomfortable? Maybe I need to realize that if that thing's making me feel uncomfortable, what is it that I'm still carrying around inside me that's coming up that I need to look at, instead of always externalizing and saying, I got to get rid of that. And a lot of leaders will do that. They don't like, they like to control the resources they hire. I know I could be on 100 podcasts, and I know I can be in front of millions of people listening. And I'm telling you, 1 or 2 people might have the balls to pick up the phone and call me. And if you want to do it right, this is where you do it right, is getting into an atmosphere and an environment to become optimized. Yeah. You do it right first, and realize that every aspect of you is already built to create exponential wealth, to move industries, to move communities, to move people you lead, to inspire a new generation of youth, to get them away from, getting stuck in their technology and feeling very sad and depressed all the time, and realize that is a unfortunate byproduct of what our leadership is doing. Yeah. The only way you're going to ever have what it is you say you want is when you actually can eradicate all your unresolved chronic stress. There's just no other way.
Absolutely. Absolutely amazing. Because we've only got to look at, if you take situations and interpretations of people personally, that's where you get into an issue. And because most of the times when people are putting up, whether it's any negative connotations or any particular situation. It's a reflection of the perception of the situation according to them, isn't it? And any given situation, different people can look at it differently in a way. So if you waste your energy and time worrying about what someone is thinking or that, then 5 or 6 different people are thinking differently. Then you're just wasting your energy in a way.
At the end of the day, I've seen people in positions of leadership and influence give their power away. They don't realize they're doing it. They're doing so much more than they think.
Yeah.
So I'm good. Well, look what's going on around you. I worked with a public figure, and he's such an interesting case because I use that word lightly because it's not a case. These are relationships. These are people that I've met and connected to. When I come in, I optimize their life, I accelerate them, and I get the hell out of their way. And then when I move on to do more with other people that want it. But this guy was introduced to me, a named influencer, and he's been doing what he's done for 30 years, but he never understood why he felt burned out, completely just like fried is what he would say. And why, making millions of dollars, 8-figure businesses, making tons of money on his online platform, working with some of the biggest names in the world from all different industries, from music to, personal development to et cetera. Science, technology, Silicon Valley. Yet he's experiencing his health deteriorating, his relationship suffering, his child feels like doesn't have that relationship he wants. And he always feels like his money is never really just sustaining. It's just, he comes in and it goes out. Why does that happen? And then he's trying to just add more into his life and try to figure that out. And if you hear yourself in this, I want you to pay attention to this and realize it's because you actually have never done enough removal. It's all about, people are stuck in this idea, I'm going to just add more. We're not, it's like eating too much and never being able to go to the bathroom. You just get backed up, your organs start to fail, your body starts to deteriorate, and then you suffer. But then what you do is your mind overrides that, and then you just go add more. Like what you said earlier, Alex, is you have to have the right mindset to step into an unknown world. If you are afraid to step into the wild unknown, you're never going to get to the level you want to be operating at. And I implore leaders to listen and go, why wouldn't you not want that? Why wouldn't you step towards something that might be temporarily so uncomfortable, but it's the most rewarding, fulfilling, freeing thing you'll ever experience? Why not be willing to jump into the unknown more, I would say, confidently? Right? Here's the thing. I stepped into those worlds as a bull rider and as a combat vet, and then kept doing that to become more of a master of my life. I wanted that self-mastery because I realized if I have a standard of how I want to show up in the world, I have to be the standard. I have to live that standard. I'm not going to go out in the world and bullshit people and sell them on an idea or a concept. I'm going to show them it's possible to live this way, right? And I'm a small business, and I've been able to identify and understand what it really takes to become optimized. So that's the same aspect when you go back to what we were just talking about, is it's getting away from the limited mindset, but having the mindset to really embrace the unknown, creating from white space and ambiguity, if you will, instead of create from those stressful life experiences that fuel your desires and passions. You get away from my trauma as a child is what made me do what I. Well, you know what? That's still limiting you, and you know what it's going to do? It's actually going to infect your employees, your staff, your customers, the people that follow you. They're going to embrace and take on some of your successes, but they're also going to take on your limitations too, whether you're aware of it or not. Energetically, consider this. When you walk into a room, I know you've done this too, Alex. We all have. You're kind of like, oh, I don't like that person's vibe, right? Something feels off with that person. Okay, that's the language of energetics. So if you can embrace that feels off and you're not willing to engage with that because you might feel something off, look at the environment you're in and consider the context in which you're actually in that environment when something makes you feel that way. Be able to discern. Let me say that word one more time. Discern if that person that makes you feel that vibe is somebody that's just randomly there, that might just have been brought into the party or the conference or wherever you're at in the meeting, that just kind of like you can tell, you're like, I don't know, something's off there. Or is the environment that you're experiencing that and with somebody that showed up into your life that's been introduced to you that has done all of this other amazing work with other people sitting in front of you, and you're going, oh, I don't like the way this feels, and realize, okay, let me discern the fact that this person did all that. Why am I trying to make this out to be a situation that's uncomfortable that I don't want to break? Why don't I just go, you know what? Let me see what's here. Even if you don't end up working with that people, there's so much gold in being able to see that discomfort and just taking maybe what information might be showing up for you.
Yeah.
Swept up in this fast-paced world, high-performance landscape, and we can keep missing out on so many amazing opportunities, even when it comes to dynamics we might not have long-term relationships with. There's so much beauty and gold and information for your performance within your own emotions, within the relationships you might find uncomfortable. And I keep pushing back on that. Is like, if you really want to take it to another level, you've got to embrace that unknown and step into it fearlessly and realize that you're going to expand your capacity, and God, you're going to create so much more because you are already built to create so much more. Hey, what I'm doing is good enough. Well, you're suffering. Why don't you imagine what life would be like if you weren't suffering, and see what you're able to create? If you want another $100 million, you can do it.
You can do it. Yeah.
It's possible. We got to go after those things that are actually hindering you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Now, so let's take that, we've figured all this out, and we, have managed to find our mission, and we are operating at this, peak performance. Now, everything is energies, and at a given particular moment, we are always ebbing and flowing into, different situations, maybe ups and downs. What do you think are the ways to actually, sustain peak performance, that we are operating at that peak performance level for a consistent period of time?
And I use that word very emphatically because it's grounded for people when they hear that. You have to unfuck your life, Alex. You have to go into those depths and allow yourself the moment to face those truths so they can be eradicated, because those are the things that are actually hindering your performance. No matter how much you try to buy into other things that you can add into your business, add into your leadership, I'm going to stop trying to control every little nuanced thing that's in your life. Surrender. Truly, surrender doesn't mean give up. It means releasing. It's like even in the martial arts that I practice, understanding that one of the philosophies in Kung Fu is being able to allow the attack to happen and trust that the right response will present itself. That's very hard for us because we're so quick to resist and if something's attacking me, I got to fight it back. And you realize that there's a reason why Chinese martial arts, why they have all figured it out, is because they've been able to witness, study, understand, and intuitively connect to nature and animals and how they live in the flow, how they move like water, how they move with nature themselves. There's no rigidity out there that gets stuck in this like one way of operating. They're so flexible. And when you can get into that space, you'll find there's so much more of your power and potential that can be unleashed. Yeah. People are so, I got to push up against it. Sometimes allow things to come at you and realize that the right responses will present themselves. So peak performance, going to answer that question, starts with your ability to be able to surrender and optimize your life. Performance itself is not a measure of quantifiable linear growth, despite how much, especially in the financial world, right? It's always like your performance this quarter was how much money you put in the bottom line. Great. That's only a fraction of performance. Performance itself, consider that word, is who you are in relationship to yourself at any given moment in your life. You are what performs. You are what creates the results. Why are we looking outside of that, thinking that these more tangible things that we can grip our minds around or our hands on, et cetera, are the only true measure of performance? Therefore, that's the only true measure of success. Why do we look at money as the ultimate goal for success? You can have all the money in the world and still be a complete screw up. Yeah. Why do you want that to be your legacy? Seriously. So I have found in order to sustain peak performance, both personally and professionally, it's all about optimization. It's all about breaking away from the crutches of that limiting belief that you have around what it takes to actually grow, be your best, and step into the unknown world of a framework that is built to really get you to eradicate anything and everything that might be holding you back, that might be creating those blind spots. You can get to that place of embracing that level of discomfort. It's only temporary, but it's going to slingshot you and accelerate you to the top of your game. And then when you get to that place, you've eradicated, faced all your truth, and you feel the most optimized you've ever felt. I'm telling you, you will never, ever need to go seek out more resources to do more for you, that you will have access to your potential. You really will. You'll know who you are at the core. You'll know where your true power is actually derived from. You'll always feel in complete integrity of your standards and how you show up in the world. Nothing will be able to knock you off. Your management of inner volatility will become optimized. Your experiences around you will not be something that actually hinders you or holds you back. You'll experience that level of just, it's almost like euphoria. Yeah. You're not going to have normal speed bumps as you perform and keep doing what you're doing. It doesn't mean the normal stresses like we talked about earlier, but they won't hurt you or hold you back. Yeah. And you'll find that the things that don't matter in your life will naturally slough off. And everything else that does will just continue to amplify and grow. Yeah. Peak performance itself is a state of being, period. And I will argue that to my death, period. The state of being. It is not task that you can get done and checking boxes off or bottom lines that you've created. It's who you are. That's where peak performance really resides. And when you can get to that place, you can sustain it. Amazing.
Is there any other sort of ugly truth that leaders keep locked up that we haven't covered?
That's a man out. Can you say that again? Is there any you said any ugly truths leaders
leaders keep locked up that our listeners would want to find out and know?
Brother, I tell you, I love that you asked that, because it is so. Our leaders, look what's going on in culture in general, from no matter what country you're in right now. It's actually happening, especially in the United States. For goodness sakes, the fracturing in the UK and the United States is because our leaders are dysfunctional. They are not optimal. I say it constantly to people that I have these great conversations with anybody and everybody. I love delving into these challenging insights. Is an unresolved leader distorts the world, which is what's happening right now. An optimized leader transforms it. So we look at what's going on around us. Why do you think we have chaos? It is complex. We can dig into any philosophy. We can dig into understand. There's so many different layers to how we operate in a society. But understanding that to have a healthy, balanced society needs to have specific limitations in certain places that are proper. On who you are, but on specific aspects of how far we can go with our freedoms and rights, where we actually need to create boundaries and standards. Because what's happening here is we're watching a faction of people trying to destroy boundaries and limits that are actually necessary for a free, happy society. And our leaders are allowing them to do it because they themselves will not embrace the truth about themselves. They are afraid of what the voters might think. They are afraid of what their constituents, they're afraid of what their employees and staff, they are afraid to stand regardless of what happens to them. And that's because they themselves are unresolved. They've never actually looked at their own shit. And so what you ask is, what are the ugly truths? The ugly truths that they're hiding is the fact that they are broken inside. Their egos are inflated. They are addicted to power. They are addicted to the money. They are addicted to being the person who can pull the levers and the strings, and they don't connect with other human beings in the way that they want to be connected with. So there's this massive dysfunctional desire to have something that they are unwilling to give. And then they go out and legislate everything into what they think is right. They believe in their mind. They know the truth. And what's happening is, look at the byproducts around you. If things are falling apart around you, you are not living from an optimized place. Your truth that you might have in your head is actually not truth. It's a made up idea or concept that your ego has proven to you over and over again, and you're thinking. And thinking is limited. Our thoughts only point or help direct us towards the truth. They are not truth themselves. But we have so many people in positions of power that are just doubling down on that level of dysfunction, and they're compensating for the pain they feel inside and all of their quirks and all of their addictions and all of their problems. Those are the biggest things. Is the ugly truths they're hiding are their addictions and their compensation of them, and they're willing to face it. And when you try to poke them and say, "Hey, man, look, you have to look," and then they push it away because it's going to challenge what they've built. And only a real leader can step towards that most uncomfortable truth that they have not looked at. That's where you can tell a real leader from one that's just acting like a title doesn't make you a leader. Being a leader doesn't require one. And you really need to understand that all the ugly truths are going to create the byproducts of dysfunction that we experience right now in our society. So I hope that answers that question, because look what's going on around you. If bombs are going off, clearly there's something wrong with you, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. But then how do you balance it with some sort of resistance? Because if you're a leader and you are set into your your mission and it makes sense to you, but in order for you to actually action it and make an impact, decisions have to be made by another body, like a lot of people. And if there's a lot of resistance, you may end up not having an impact. I think this probably happened in Obama's era, where maybe he's trying to enact some sort of legislation or whatever, but because he doesn't control the Congress or something, then he's like deadlocked and he can't do anything. How can leaders manage that conflict that's stopping them from being authentic and pursuing? So idea.
Man, that is a